building a multi-million dollar family empire, architecting wealth that endures across generations. Okay, so I am your host, Paul Ayombee, crypto analyst and business strategist. It all begins with a question, and what is on our screen? How do ordinary families intentionally architect multi-million dollar wealth that endures across generations? Hard work without strategic structure doesn't forge legacy. It merely sustains the status quo. By the end of this session, you will walk away with a clear blueprint, actionable how-tos, and the confidence to begin implementing it immediately. So let me lay this out plainly and authoritatively from onset, so there's no room for misunderstanding. The harsh reality is that most families never achieve lasting wealth. Yes, this isn't due to lack of effort or intelligence. That's far from it, okay? It's because they have never been handed the proven blueprint, the strategic framework that turns hard work into compounding legacy. Countless parents pour out their souls into their careers. Yes, you are working tirelessly. You rise up early, they toil late, they sacrifice personal health and even family time. They pray. Yeah, even right now, some people are praying and fasting, including their family in. So they give everything they've got, doing their absolute best day in, day out. But guess what? After 30 to 40 years of relentless grind, what remains? Often we will realize that there are scant structures on ground, minimal assets, and children left to rebuild from scratch. And then what happened? The cycle perpetuates generation after generation. So tonight, we are breaking that cycle. Someone say we are breaking that cycle once and for all. And we will methodically unpack, number one, take note of this, why this destructive pattern repeats itself across families and societies. You know, before you deal with any problem, you must know the root of it all. Okay? So the first thing we will methodically unpack, number one, why this destructive pattern repeats itself across families and societies. Two, how authentic family empires are constructed from the ground up with precision and purpose. The most crucial part of it is that how you that is on this webinar, regardless of your current financial status, can initiate this process right now with practical steps tailored to real life. What you're about to learn tonight is not theory, it's a roadmap that is drawn from observing successful dynasties and applying it to everyday families like yours. We'll start with why most families never build empires. Yes. Now let's confront this head on with unflinching honesty, because true change begins with acknowledging the uncomfortable truths. The core issue is that most families prioritize short-term income over long-term assets. Why most families never build empires? Number one, short-term focus, prioritizing immediate income over long-term asset accumulation and growth. That's what's happening now. A lot of people are just in the now, what to eat now, what to wear now. Short-term focus. Now is the reason why a lot of parents are not building any empire, because of the short-term focus. Now, why most families never build empires? The educational gap. Traditional systems grew most for employment, not ownership or wealth management. Yes, that's what's happening. Educational system grew most for employment, not ownership, teaching us to trade time for money, but rarely how to make money work for us. Yeah, that is not taught in school. So this is still one of the reasons why families never build empires. And then another one is what? The wealth erosion. Hard work without strategic structure doesn't forge legacy. It merely sustains the status quo. To illustrate why this leads to failure, Wealth erodes rapidly beyond the third generation because there is no mechanism to preserve or grow it. Now, even some parents who have managed to build some things simply because the children are not educated wealth wise, what happens? Studies from wealth management firms like UBS, okay, UBS shows that 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation, and then 90% by the third generation. Why? The reason there is that no vision, no system. Lack of vision and systems lead to rebuilding from scratch every single generation. So children inherit debts or nothing at all, forcing them to restart the wheel, perpetuating the financial struggles like debt cycles, inflation, erosion, and economic vulnerabilities. Families chase immediate gratification, while most families never build empires. And you can see number one, short-term focus, educational gap, wealth erosion. One of the reasons again is that families chase immediate gratification. You don't have any system on ground, there's no vision for the family, and then what they are chasing after is bigger houses, flashy cars, without building the foundational assets that appreciate over time. That's deadly. So in essence, an empire isn't erected through sheer effort. Building a family empire demands synergistic blend, visionary planning, plus high value assets, plus robust systems, plus impeccable positioning. So without this, even the hardest workers end up with fleeting gains. No matter how hard you work, if you don't have these things on ground, that money will eventually disappear. So to break free from this, start by auditing your own patterns. Yes, track your monthly expenses versus asset building investment. So what exactly is a family empire? Now that I've dissected the pitfalls, let's pivot to the vision of success with a crystal clear definition, because understanding what we are building is half the battle. So when I speak of $1 million family empire, what do I mean? I mean a fortified ecosystem of ownership where your family controls appreciating assets that generate passive income and expand independently. So when I speak of a multi-million dollar family, I'm not referring to a pile of cash languishing in a low yield bank account that is vulnerable to inflation and taxes. That's a fragile illusion of wealth. If anytime we talk about family empire and all that is in your mind is stack of cash somewhere in the bank, then you have a fragile illusion of wealth. So envision a family empire as the definition we have on our screen. A family empire should be able to deliver these three things you see on the screen. A family empire should be able to deliver generational launchpad. It's equipping children with resources, knowledge, and networks to accelerate their own contributions. So a family empire should deliver generational launchpad, inflation shield, lasting impact. Maybe your parents didn't leave you with resources, with knowledge. Yeah, we're talking about financial knowledge. We're talking about wealth. We're talking about relational wisdom, all of these things. Okay, so equipping your children with resources, knowledge, and networks, yeah, very important to accelerate their own contribution so that they will not start from what? From this scratch. Then another one again is wealth shielded from economic threats like inflation. So if you are building a family empire, what it should deliver wealth shielded from economic threats like inflation through diversified, growth-oriented holdings that outpace rising cost. Another one again, lasting impact. Very, very important. Lasting impact. A lasting name and impact that transcends your lifetime. A name and legacy that transcends your lifetime, creating ripple effects in industries. So as a parent, if you want to build an empire, these are the three things you must deliver. and early participation in seismic economic shift, positioning your family as beneficiaries rather than bystanders. That is being early. Let's break it down. Now let's talk about the 4 pillars of a family empire. So before I break this down, now if we look to history for proof, dynasties like the Rockefellers, yeah, you need to study the Rockefellers, didn't amass fortunes through salaries. No, they didn't. Okay? The Rockefellers did not amass fortunes through salaries. They seized the opportunity in oil during the industrial transition. So in every dispensation, there's a transitioning of wealth that always comes in between. The way the world is going now, we have wealth transition happening in decades. Okay, so the Rockefellers, what they did, they took advantage. They seized the opportunities in oil during the industrial transitions. Then also modern families, such as those behind Silicon Valley, who positioned themselves early in the digital revolutions, participated and capitalized on economic transitions. So if you must deliver these 3 things, this is one of the things you need to do. To apply this, begin by documenting your family's empire blueprint. Now, how do you do that? List current assets. Yes, list your current assets. This exercise will give you clarity, okay? It will give you clarity and align your daily decision with a long-term empire goals and ensuring every action builds towards that vision. So you need to put something down first. So now we are going to the 4 pillars of family empire. What are the 4 pillars of a family empire? Number 1, with the foundation of what an empire truly entails, let's transition to the structural core, which are the 4 pillars, okay? The 4 indispensable pillars that hold it all together. Now, these aren't optional. They are the non-negotiable framework for any family that is serious about multi-million dollar legacy. So if you are talking about building a multi-million dollar legacy, you can't avoid these 4 pillars. Okay, so I will break each down with depth, authority, and actionable how-tos to make implementation straightforward. So let's start with number 1 on our list, which is what? Vision. So at the heart of every empire is a far-reaching vision. Empire builders operate on 20 to 50 years horizons, not quarterly paychecks. They probe the future with what? Questions, and we're going to take those questions. So number 1 is what? Vision. You should be operating on a 20 to 50 year horizon, probing future economic landscapes. People who want to build a family empire, you must have a vision. And those who are thinking 20 to 50 years horizon, they should be asking questions like, what economic landscape would dominate in 10 to 20 years? So if you ask yourself that, what economic landscape would dominate in the next 10 to 20 years, you should know that it is AI, decentralization, and sustainable tech is taking over already. So now let's go to the second pillar of it. The second pillar, we are talking about what? Assets. Before we go there, let me still talk a little bit on this vision. Now, another question again you should ask as a parent is that, what unbreakable financial foundation will I bequeath to my children, ensuring they thrive in that world, that is, in the world they will meet? So without this vision, wealth accumulation is haphazard, yes, and vulnerable to whims. If you don't get these things right, your accumulation of wealth will be haphazard. It will not be strategic, and that's why we're talking about structure tonight. With vision, wealth becomes deliberate, a deliberate, inevitable outcome, compounding through informed what? Choices. So how do you cultivate this? Cultivate a vision by what? Scheduling a quarterly family session. You need to do that. A visionary family must create a time to have a family vision session. Yes, prepare a vision session for your family. Okay? On that vision session, what do? You do research global trends. So in that your family vision session, what do? You brainstorm as a unit. Your children should not be studying some courses now. Are you with me? If you are here, you have children already, or you are planning to, you should know that you should do all this research. You know that your children are going to study some courses in school, because some are no longer necessary now. If you are building something big, if you want your family to be an empire indeed, your children shouldn't be studying some courses. You get it? So you should ask that what skills and assets will our family need? So you document all these things, you revisit this. If you have a vision, you keep visiting it. Okay? You practice this over and over until it becomes a dream. The second pillar of a family empire is what? Assets. So focusing on appreciating holdings such as scalable businesses, equities, real estate, and digital infrastructure that labor tirelessly. Empires rest on assets that appreciate and produce, not fleeting salaries that hurt when you do. Yeah, so shift your focus from what salaries, and you see everything will change. Key asset to prioritize, like I said, businesses, scalable ventures like e-commerce. If you're thinking about e-commerce, consulting firms that generate recurring revenues, you should do that. Then equities, that is stocks in growth sectors. If you're talking about real estate, you can go into rental properties or real estate investment funds. Then we're talking about digital and technological assets. We talk about the blockchain holdings that tap into the emerging economies. Okay, so the reason why a family empire must have asset is that asset labor tirelessly, appreciating and yielding dividends, while salaries demand constant personal attention. You are working, the day you don't go to work, your salary is slashed. The day you don't go to work, so you should be thinking about assets too. So how do you go about that? You can start by allocating 10 to 20% of your income to asset acquisition. Yes, that's how to start. Allocate 10 to 20%, okay, of your income for asset acquisition. So for those who want to go into stocks, you can open a brokerage account and start that. Licensed firms that let you to buy and sell investment like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. They are usually flexible with no contribution limits and allowing withdrawals anytime. You should be investing in stocks too. Okay? So aim for assets to cover 50% expenses within 5 years. If you are consistent with this 10 to 20% buying of assets, by the next 5 years, your assets should be covering about 50% or even more. The transition happening now is so rapid that anything can happen. So now let's go straight to the third pillar, which is systems, the structural core. Wealth without system is like a castle on a sand. It crumbles under pressure. So systems ensure longevity, turning individual effort into family-wide resilience. This system includes financial education, family governance, and clear rules that safeguard wealth from external shocks. You know, when it comes to building anything that will last, there must be intentionality. Yes, you cannot just pray a family empire into existence. In as much as you pray, God makes everything available. But if there is no financial education, no family governance, no clear rules that safeguard wealth from external shocks, then it's going to crumble. That's why I said, without system, it's like a house that is not built on a rock. Once the wind blows, it will shatter down. That's what happens if there is no system. So essential system includes, like I said, financial education, which is already ongoing now. family governance. You need to define roles, decision-making protocols in your family. Yes, start thinking like the royal family. Yeah, start thinking like the royal family. Define roles, decision-making protocols, and conflict resolution in your family should be there. Then you have clear rules and disciplines about budgeting, about saving mandates and investment guidelines, which you have already gotten some of the things to do. And then mentorship and guidance. You have external advisors or internal knowledge transfer to avoid pitfalls in the family. So money provide options, but systems safeguard them, preventing squandering through poor habits or external shocks. So how do you establish systems in your family? You establish system by creating what? Start first of all by creating a family wealth charter, a document that outlines the values, visions, and rules governing your family financial operations or your business financial operation. You need to have all of that. It's work. Yes, it's work. But if you really want to build an empire, you need to put in this work. Very, very important. Okay. So all of those things, like we said about the vision and the assets, and in that your family wealth charter, you outline like 20% of all income goes to investment, all of those things, or annual financial reviews before money goes out. This is it. Money, all of those policies. You need to sit down and make some financial policies that will keep the family running. Yes, squandering will go on, and wherever there's squandering, poverty is inevitable. Okay. So now let's go straight to positioning. This pillar is a silent killer. Yes, I call it the silent killer of potential. Yes, where most families falter. This is where a lot of families miss out, arriving too late to the party. Yes, positioning demands foresight. And that's why you must know what is happening in your world. You cannot be existing on earth and not know where wealth is going to. If you don't know where money is going to, that means you have ignorantly signed for poverty without knowing. So you must consciously know where money is going to so that you will know what to do per time. And if you know where money is going to early and you get there early, you will make money before it reaches what? The masses. So entering opportunities early, tracking capital flows, where is government pushing money, and acting decisively before the masses flood in. This thing will help you. So wealth isn't about outrunning others. Take that care. Take note of that. Wealth isn't about outrunning others. It's not a competition. Okay, it's about impeccable timing. Spotting shift like the internet boom. Yeah, before the internet boom, those who got the information early, they are big now. Or blockchain emergence and staking your claim. Right now, we are talking about, many of you know me here for crypto. Yeah, a lot of you know me for crypto. And you know that there's a shift ongoing already. So, like I said earlier, asset labor tirelessly, while salaries demand constant personal time and energy. So wealth isn't about outrunning others, it's about what? Impeccable timing. The current global shift. So building on these pillars, let's seamlessly connect to the macro environment, because no empire thrives on isolation. Do you hear that? No empire thrives on isolation. We are amid one of the history's most profound wealth transfer. So we are witnessing the largest wealth transfer in human history. So capital is rapidly migrating from outdated paradigms to innovative frontiers, from rigid old systems to agile digital ones, from purely physical asset to tokenized borderless ones, from centralized gatekeepers to decentralized democratized ownership. So there's a paradigm shift that is going on. So global giants like BlackRock, they are already pouring billions into digital assets and validating the transition to tokenized economies. Do you know what that means? Everything that is valuable will be tokenized. When we say something will be tokenized, it means that thing will be brought to blockchain. Yes, that is, you can tokenize your land. Do you know that? You can tokenize your company. You can tokenize your property. So real estate have been tokenized now, have been brought to blockchain. That's what it means. And then BlackRock, they are validating this transitioning. So what do? You have to look carefully, monitor trends, and take action. Okay? So blockchain technology and crypto infrastructure, this is not a fleeting hype. Okay? It is foundational layers for reshaping finance. So if you ignore this, you are ignoring it at your peril. So embrace it and your family rides the wave. We are in the age of AI and decentralization. Yes. So let's talk about what I tag crypto as a family empire tool. Yes. In this our dispensation, it is the family empire tool. Remember the Rockefellers, they took advantage of oil. With the global shift in view, going into crypto, this is not as a get rich quick gimmick, but as a strategic tool for building empire. So crypto empowers family to own pieces of tomorrow's financial backbone. Yes, so it is an hedge against inflation and engage in global financial evolution. If you look at my screen, I grouped 6 tokens into 3 categories. Now, what you are seeing on your screen here is something very sensitive. That's why I told a lot of people, if you miss this live session, the next time you see me, you have to pay for one-on-one. Okay, so these are sensitive information that are being displayed on your screen. I'm going to talk about them briefly, and may the Lord give you understanding. So I want you to dismiss the noise of meme coins in the market. Okay, so what you are seeing on your screen, they are transgenerational assets. That's what I call them. They are what? Transgenerational asset with real utility. Okay, with real utility. Now let's look at the first group on our screen. Global payments. I've grouped these 6 into 3. We have the global payment. We have the enterprise DLT, which is the distributed ledger technology. Then we also have the AI and Web3 data. Now let's break this down. The first coin on the list is XRP. So this token, I'm going to talk read what is on the screen, is revolutionizing cross-border settlements for institutional speed and efficiency. Does this sound like where the world is going to? Yes. Then we talk about the XLM, which is enabling seamless global payments and financial inclusion for underserved regions. Do you hear that? Now we'll come to the enterprise DLT, which is the distributed ledger technology. We have the XDC. The XDC, all these things I'm calling, they are cryptocurrencies. Okay, the XDC is empowering trade finance on institutional blockchain, streaming global trade flows. I'm not going to say much about this. It's just an expo. Then we have the HBAR, enterprise grade distributed ledger tech for high speed supply chain and Internet of Things, IoT. Then we have the AI and Web3 data. We have the FET, fueling an AI-driven automation economy by merging blockchain with machine learning. Yeah, does that sound like, those of you join early, does this sound like what Elon Musk was talking about? Yes. So this is merging blockchain with machine learning. Then we have the GRT. GRT is indexing the decentralized web. It's serving as the critical data layer for Web3. Oh my God. I will not say much about this. So, empire strategy: research rigorously, accumulate patiently, and hold true circles. But I want to give you all one free update here. Listen attentively. If you are a father and you are working right now, by all means, you see these 6 on my screen. Work with them. Accumulate it. I can tell you that in the next Like I said, in the next 10 years, you will find me. In the next 10 years, you'll be grateful to God that you attended this webinar. And then let me give you another sensitive expo last. You see the one called XRP. If you can, by all means, I don't know how capacitated you are, but make sure that every member of the family has at least 1,000 of it. As we speak, it's currently at what? At $2. So that means $1,000 will give you just 500 now. So I don't know your budget, but if you cannot as a family, make sure you have at least 1,000 tokens of XRP. You are not buying to come and be checking whether it's going up or going down. No, you are buying to hold so that one day the news will break out on TV and you will remember that you bought it. You know, that's how empires are built. It's not buying and then you go open your wallet today, you check what is happening. No, buy and let it be. Go and sleep. Okay? Go and sleep and let it be. All these things. It is well, let the news announce it for you, because when these things happen, it is everywhere. It is no longer something hidden. But right now, not everybody knows. The masses are not yet aware of these things you are seeing on the screen. What are you going to do about this? Like I said, do your own research. Okay? Do your own research, accumulate patiently, and hold through the cycles. Now that you are armed with this knowledge, the path forward is clear. Action doesn't require fortunes. It demands informed steps. You need knowledge to discern opportunities. But what? Proper guidance to avoid pitfalls and discipline to execute consistently. So first thing first, you need to know how to securely buy these things. Start with what? Reputable exchanges like Secure Buying, then master custody. How then do you store? You store them with hard wallets. You must know how to back up your seed phrase securely and what? Teach your family members the basics. Yes, if you're a parent by now, your child should know how to buy and sell cryptos securely. So long-term discipline, set 5 to 10 years goals and ignore daily volatility. Empire building is quiet accumulation and boring consistency. When you are holding this thing, it is boring until something happens. Before we wrap up tonight, let me leave you with one final critical thought. You've heard the vision tonight, you've seen the 4 pillars, you felt that quiet fire inside you, the one that says my family deserves more than starting over every generation. But inspiration without implementation fades. And that's why I created something far beyond tonight's session. I have a complete blueprint that will reveal these things. There are about 12 chapters, over 70,000 words, 50 case studies, and 200 strategies. So this is the complete blueprint you are looking at here right now. So this isn't just notes from the top. This is not notes from the script. No, this is the full expanded roadmap. Like I said, over 70,000 words across 12 comprehensive chapters, drawing directly from what 250 years of real dynasty building wisdom. So in this book, you will discover exactly why Vanderbilt fortune, that is equivalent to $250 billion today, vanished completely by the 3rd generation. You get to know that. And not one of their 120 descendants was a millionaire by 1973. You get to know why the Rockefellers, starting with a modest $1,000 loan, are still controlling billions and wielding global influence 6 generations later. 6 generations later, the Rockefellers are still grinding after 6 generations. So what's the difference? The difference is that they didn't just make money. We are talking about the Rockefellers. They didn't just make money. They built an empire with proven structures, governance, succession plans, legal protections, investment philosophies, and their hair preparation that survive wars, depression, and revolutions. In this book, you have 50 plus real family dynasty case studies. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Wattons, the Mars, the Wallenbergs, and more. You will get to know more about this family because when you go through them, over 200 specific, immediately implementable strategies available. If you want to understand this mindset shift, get the book. I'm not encouraging you to get the book for nothing. Okay, there's much more. That's why I had to host a webinar to just give a brief review about it and then the whole package in the book. So I charge you all, let's build something enduring. Your legacy begins tonight.